Well, joining us tonight, Patrice Onwuka, Senior Policy Analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, and Jason Jones, retired captain from the Texas Department of Public Safety's Intelligence and Counterterrorism Division. Good to have you both with us. Patrice.
Thank you.
Patrice Onwuka, we appreciate it. I apologize for kicking your name,
That's okay.
and you can reciprocate, and we'll even it up here tonight. I want your thoughts about this situation we've got, where now the president has ordered enforcement in the interior of our immigration laws. Chuck Schumer he created two fanciful sources to say it's impossible to do. Mark Morgan gives you the very clear impression that it's not impossible at all. Your thoughts?
Well, I think the president is prioritizing enforcement of our laws. I mean, there are 44 million immigrants in this country. 3 out of 4 of them are here legally and have gone through the correct channels. That includes naturalized citizens such as myself. And so for those 10 million who have flouted the law and have come here illegally, I think it's a message that we're no longer going to tolerate that kind of, breaking the law to come here. There is a reason why we have an immigration system. And if you want to change that, and we certainly can change our immigration system, but this is saying, you know what, we need to stop the flood and the attraction, the magnet that is drawing people here illegally.
It's an odd thing, Jason, to think that aligned with the Mexican drug cartels who are driving illegal immigrants across that border, smuggling them, the deadly drugs by the tens of billions of dollars, and the tens of thousands of lives of Americans lost, that they are aligned with the Chamber of Commerce, the Democratic Party in particular, the Koch brothers, Wall Street. There seems to be a complete denial in this country that what they're doing is supporting drug cartels, the deadliest in the world. Your thoughts?
Yeah, we've got some real challenges, Lou, when it comes to the Mexican cartels, and looking at them today as they are, which really is global violent networks who are acting as terrorist organizations around the world. It may stun your audience that Sinaloa cartel, for example, is in 54 nations around the world. Cartel Jalisco New Generation is in over 42 nations around the world. And they have gone through a quantum leap in capabilities in tradecraft that they have learned from former special forces, also what they've learned from the FARC, which is a designated terrorist organization. Right. So when we think of the cartels, one of the things we have to realize is their effects on the American people and how it affects the folks every single day, and look at them for what they are today, not for what we remember them as, which is drug cartels, because that is something they do. That is not what they are any longer.
Right. They're in every aspect of what is going across that border. For the United States, that is drugs, that is sex trafficking, and that is smuggling illegal immigrants. Patrice, your thoughts about what we can do to awaken people to what's really going on? Chuck Schumer saying it's impossible to enforce our interior immigration laws, as if we're not talking about people who broke the law, who have already received due process and are under a judge's order to be removed from the country.
Well, yes. First, it's highlighting that they have broken the law, and then these are people who've been told time and time again that it's time for them to go home. I really though think that when you're talking to women in particular, highlighting and underscoring, the fact that illegal immigration hurts and harms women. When we look at the southern border, it's a travesty that you have 1/3 of women being sexually assaulted on the dangerous trip from southern Central America. And so, when you highlight that, when you highlight the impact on children, you talked about human trafficking, but you're talking about renting children to be able to bring people over the borders, and those are children who should not be put in harm's way. I also think we need to highlight the hypocrisy on the left when it comes to this humanitarian crisis. Everyone was concerned about children being separated from their parents, but now all of a sudden they're silent when it comes to how these children are being manipulated, taken advantage of, and abused and used. And so I think when we begin to point that out, hopefully then there'll be some more political will to actually address this issue.
It's quite a contrast, isn't it, to see New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Jason, signing into law the right of illegal immigrants to have driver's licenses, which is a de facto citizenship in many cases, and President Trump demanding that our laws be enforced and actually turning to ICE and saying we will now pursue those who have violated laws, defied our due process, and defied our judges who've ordered them removed. This is a president with great courage taking on not only the Iron Triangle and the gangs and the cartels, the powerful global gangs, as you point out. We haven't had a president with this kind of courage. And by the way, his party doesn't have his courage. They haven't grown a spine yet that will even permit them to follow in his shadows.
Yeah, Lou, I'll tell you, I was just in Roma, Texas 2 days ago, and I was stunned for the first time to be on the Rio Grande River and to be able to see forces from Mexico on the water. I had never seen that in my career, and that's all directly as a result of the good efforts of our president to get Mexico to stand up and to start working to help us at the border. Because it would stun the American people to realize of all the border operations we've been doing along our southwest border, we do not get assistance from the Mexican government forces. So by him making this coalition, building these relationships, and sending the new National Guard force down to the southern border to start helping to reinforce and work with us with this over-the-horizon approach, as we call it, this is exactly the start. Now, you know, time will tell if this is going to be successful, but at least for the first time, the Mexican government is being held accountable by this president to do something.
And as you suggest, it is early, but we've already seen this month a 13% decline from May in illegal immigration traffic. Not even close to enough, but a beginning. We hope of, as you both suggest, something far better that'll make both nations stronger. Patrice Onwuka, thank you so much. Patrice, good to see you again. Jason Jones, thank you. Jason, we appreciate it.
Thank you
both.
for having me.